Okay, so last time you guys had continued on your long journey of going between different planes, searching for a darkness that has been spreading through them for quite some time. On a mission from Minerva, you have traveled through the elemental plane of Holy, Fire, and eventually found your way to the plane of Time. You're unsure as to if you were directed here uh, with a purpose or merely found your way here by chance, though you could be thankful that you have allowed to continue existing within this plane. After clearing out the previous taints found on the planes, the plane of time has seemingly had no real darkness to speak of, aside from the abyss you find yourself in between the forming of the different snippets. With your time spent on the plane of time, you have witnessed quite a few snippets to the count of 9. You saw a snippet for each of the previous creatures that were affected by the emotional energies when you saw Dr. Rickbard Altfeist, the Troll Queen Zara, Derigadar II, Buzinviib, which is better known as Titan Backbreaker, and a it was an attack of sorts. The battle between Elric Ota and the Hero of Light that he had mentioned previously as the other one that you guys shouldn't really be dealing with due to the power level he was at during your time, as Art Modar. Along with those 5 snippets, you also saw a personal snippet for each of you, delving into your pasts, and while some of you just watched on with maybe some popcorn at hand, some of you did decide to enter into the snippets to either alter them or to perhaps get a better view on what was going on. To that event, Joseph, I think, was the only one who didn't actually enter the snippets, whereas Yuki entered to get a better view, Osa entered to get a better view, and Iskandor entered to intervene in his one. As far as you can tell, nothing has happened in the way of consequences for your actions, though it's possible that the snippets you entered into were only where is it? And then my document froze. You're unsure of either of these snippets being replays or actuality. In the fact that the replays are basically just showing what has happened or will happen without any way to intervene, and more just of a show. The actuality snippets allowing you to actually intervene, where most of the denizens of the plane of time use such to make sure that the timeline goes towards what it's meant to. As you have dealt with all the snippets that come to you, you've also been entering into temple-like structures and have been attacked or tested by the Time Protector golem-like creatures. Ending off with the fight against Art Modar, you fell out of that snippet and have been flying through the space. And we shall continue from there. After the final snippet closes, the party will fall through endless space of the plane of time, hurtling towards a forming sphere of matter. As the party lands within the sphere, it closes its walls of transparent grey glass, similar to that of the sphere that holds the plane. The exterior flashes with vibrant colours of green, blue, and red. Countless visages of times past, present, and future flash by, depicting scenes that the party have witnessed and those they have not. The party notices several forms of their own being, from slightly taller or fatter versions to ones that have completely different walks of life. Hills of corpses, hills of golds, hills of artifacts. Scenes of completely disparate events pass by, showing the different outcomes that could arrive and those that have occurred within different timelines. Joseph sees a time where he's stuck with the Reclaimers Guild, and amongst him he finds a restored dead sector of Nefel. Iskandor merely looks upon a grave as he sees his own name and his family watching over it. Yuki sees a hard fight with a primal form of Bahamut, though in that one she is failing. And Osa is able to see a scene with her axe bloodied and countless corpses around her, a large horn forming from her forehead. As the scenes continue to play, a large scythe cuts into the floor portion of the sphere, though it seems to be more in a fashion of holding it than to be intimidating. Large marble chairs form in the air below the characters, allowing them to sit moderately comfortably, a larger throne appearing in front of them. Atop the throne sits a gargantuan man, at which point you can roll knowledge religion if you have it trained.
I'm having to reopen my sheet, you gotta bear with me.
How dare. Your sheet should be open at all times, even if you crash. No, I'm pretty sure your character doesn't need to roll, so I'll just tell you what that is.
Plus 32.
Nope.
Do you want me to roll that?
No, you don't need to, but Joseph does know as well. So instead of Iskandor telling everybody everything, Joseph, you do so instead. But you'll both be able to identify this person to be Zamala, the god of time. At which point you can have his little sheet of info there. With a wave of his hand, the party experiences a full day's rest, recovering double your level in health and doubling your normal MP recovery. Zamala speaks toward the party, his voice reverberating within the sphere. Greetings, saviors of the material. Your actions thus far have been felt deep within the other planes. Your challenges and tests within my domain have come to a closure. A score of 15 out of 26 is a passing grade. Though a great distance away from the peering eyes of a divine. You are not under the control of another, and if you are, the divine in question does not exude their presence as one would. Gratify my query. What do you believe is your purpose as you move between the planes and find yourselves within mine?
I believe we were sent by Minerva to eradicate the disturbances in the planes that we've been to so far, and we've discovered these little memory parasites that are taking over us and other people, and we're trying to get rid of that. Does that sound right, everybody?
All in all, yes. It's to discover what this memory absence is and destroy this darkness which has been plaguing, as you've been showing us, or one of your servants has, almost our entire careers.
Is Yuki Orosa going to respond?
What they've said is more or less what our intent is. Yeah.
The Minerva within your timeline asks that you seek the darkness moving through the planes, an evil force that seeks to wreak havoc on the land it lays its feet. As a babe deity, her reach is still extending to find its barriers, the extent of which she has passed on a number of occasions. For the time that we spend talking, the newly birthed god is being disciplined by her creators and her elders. Her allowance of 4 heroes was perhaps an oversight, but one that was made by many. The laws of heroes and the limitations placed upon the divine are a courtroom discussion all their own. Indulge my curiosity. What do you believe, or who do you believe you would prefer to be your patron? Or would you stay in the home of Minerva?
Oh, Zamala, if I may interject with my own question, are you not one of Minerva's creators? As one of the sorry, he's a greater god, isn't he? Not an old god.
He is a greater god, yeah.
Yeah, he's a greater god. Have you already disciplined Minerva on this, or are you asking this before going to meet her?
I had not as much input towards the creation of the new deity as the others would have. Both Alfena and Bahamut have had the more overreaching goal of creating that one. But like many a father, I can be disappointed in my offspring.
I see. And surely nurturing as well, when needed. But I digress. In terms of choice of deity, I truly don't know. We all have our quirks. I'll look at the party, like, not in a nasty way, but just we are very different people. In fact, one of us isn't tied to Minerva. Yuki here is the hero of Bahamut.
Indeed.
It isn't, in all honesty, it doesn't really seem our choice. Your deities will judge as they shall. While we have gained power, we are simply mortal. If you choose, we become dust.
To be fair, though, I was a little surprised when Minerva was the one that eventually was told to take all of us as her heroes of light. We had thought about it and were curious to see who would pick us. And I believe we each had different ideas for who was going to pick us, but I don't think any of us really had Minerva.
No, she was in the list. And we did see, well, I saw the scoreboard, which I'm sure you were a part of, Lord Zamala. But no, I don't think anyone was really expected Minerva to be our patron.
You have to speak up, Jackby. You basically got it.
What I was saying is we weren't expecting Minerva, no. All of us had different ideals, and our scoreboards, which I'm sure you saw, were quite different in their own way. In fact, we were entreated directly by Hades, of all people. Or gods, rather.
Has Osa got anything to say?
Trying to formulate it. I fully admit don't entirely understand all the the bigger pictures, but with all due respect, Minerva may have outreached her domain, but I think why she sent us here is because she was worried whatever is affecting the other planes will be affecting Gaia and her domain as well. So, while it may not have been in her power to really do that, what she was trying to do was to stop it from spreading.
With so many choices, if all are applicable, you make that yours. None are ever wrong. They are merely dots on a board. One is yours, another is another's. The place you find yourselves within is the track you are set in. You may see another rail to shift onto, or simply fantasize about something different from the norm. I offer up a morsel of information in return for what you have given me. This sphere keeps out all prying eyes, even the gods. The knowledge granted to you is that of divine origin, though it is not fully formed, nor is its control being exercised at this moment. I shall not confirm nor deny who it belongs to, though I will say it can become a boon beyond boons if you are able to hold dominion over it. A gift from a murderer is not a tool of death, nor is the book of a prophet an answer to all your questions. It is what you do with what is gifted onto you that defines what it is.
By that answer, Lord Zamala, I take it, and this may be a bit of a stab in the dark, but was it Kefka who did this to us? The laughter in our last adventure with the Sins seems to point in his direction, but I might be wrong. I know you can't confirm or deny, and Iskandar will kind of hold his hands up, but it does seem like the pieces fall in place for that outcome.
You try and sense one of the deity, but you have no idea.
It was worth a try.
Yeah.
If it is to be Kefka, or to be your actions knowing that outcome,
It won't change.
Restore the balance. That's pretty much what we're supposed to be doing, I think.
Indeed. It would simply be good to know where this is coming from, so we can have a slightly less cordial discussion with him.
whoever is the arbiter of the knowledge granted to you, it is not my place to stop or aid in its progression. You are simply acting out your timeline, and I see no need to push you off of it.
Sorry, does anyone else have something to say? Because I don't want to, take too much time with this.
I was gonna say something if it came up again, but not really.
No, go ahead.
Now that I think about it, Lord Zamala, when we were discussing the scoreboards and stuff like that, I do remember saying to myself, at least, that if I had a choice, that I would have picked you to be my patron for the Hero of Light.
And perhaps if the strings were pulled in a different form, you may have had me.
don't have any regrets or anything like that. I remember that, and I feel like I think we'll still do plenty of good under Minerva.
So you lit up there a little bit. Did you want to say something? Sorry.
Who was that?
Jasta lit up a little bit. Not to be weird, but like I literally just saw it. That was all.
No.
Ah, never mind.
Zamala waves his hand over the air, creating a small portal leading to what looks like an interior of a building. Whilst most portals seem to become erratic after a time or spin out of control, this seems like a permanent thing until he diminishes it, removing any form of a need for haste. Any darkness that seeks to desecrate time will always find issue bypassing my gaze. Though it was strong, it is a pittance against my hoard of power. This instance has been wholly confined within a made-up space of snippets. You need not worry about any adverse effects from it, but your goal is to remove all appearances of such. I will let you enter and remove the taint from this snippet. Once your task is done, I shall send you on your way to the origin of this magic. As I see naivete of Minerva as an insult to the divine name, I will offer you assistance before entering. Tell me of items you wish to relinquish control of, and those you wish to gain ownership of, or items you wish to be empowered. I will shift them amongst the planes at your whim, though the total cost must equal your current wealth. In that goal, I can remove coins from your persons. In essence, see this as an opportunity as a trading session, without worry for time or distance.
I needed prep for this. Alright.
Yeah, this is.
Shopping? Oh no!
Who thought we would be shopping in the middle of the space of the deities where there's no shops?
You never know, you could find Stiltskin. He's always trading.
This is true.
How do you want it? Do you want to just like type in what we're swapping over or buying?
Yeah. He can also do any magic enchantments. So say you want a +4 and become a +5, you can just do that instantly. If you have the money for it.
Could I trade the Ifrit's blade to increase my Falcata up to
No.
the... Oh,
Ifrit's blade has no price.
dang it.
If anyone was to buy the Ifrit's blade off of you, they'd be the target of so many bandits trying to raid their shop to get it.
That's true. It'd have to be somebody who's nearly as powerful as us, at the very least. We haven't been getting any money either, so it's not really a lot of stuff.
You
we
got a
can
bit of
do.
money.
Yeah, we got a little bit.
Not sure if Jack B wants all of those magic rods. Jess is just gonna go ask Chloe for advice on what he should sell. And apparently Jack B lost his internet. Who knew the plane of time has so many issues? You do have all of those wondrous items in the group loot too. You got 5 ring of protections plus 5.
Oh yeah, that's true.
4 amulets natural armor. I don't know what plus that is because you need to put it in. 4 braces of armor plus 8. That's a good chunk of money. Nobody's using those. Plus a whole lot of alchemical items. I think at this point, Jack B is going to be mostly curing Staz effects with Curada and whatnot. I'll see if I can find what those were. They were in this campaign. It's 4 of them, so it looks like it is the plus 5 variants. You just didn't put the plus 5 in, or he copy-pasted weirdly. So you got those. I don't know if anyone still wanted to keep them or use them.
I know that I'm using one of pale green island stone prism things, but I don't know how many we had.
I was quickly put in the chat what they're all worth. That's what you get for the ring protections, amulets, and braces if you sell each one. As for the Ion Stones, I have given out Ion Stones a few times. Let's see, pale green. There were 2 pale green prism Iron Stones, so you may have taken one of them.
Yeah, I did.
Did you say you took the orange or no?
No, I don't know what the orange one does.
Shall open up the link for those. The orange is a +1 cast level, so I think Jack B already had one of those.
Sorry about that.
Jack B, did you have an orange prison stone before the one in this campaign?
Yes.
Okay, so you still have that in loot then.
Yeah, I bought that some time ago, I'm pretty sure.
So that's what you get if you sell those 2 stones. The pale green is a +1 competence on attacks, saves, skill checks, and ability checks. So it's still nice if nobody has a competence bonus to those things. Does Osa have a pale green prism?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Did you have that before?
Yeah.
Okay. Does Iskandar have a pale green?
No, I think we were looking at the different buffs as to what does what. I know that Grand Destiny gives the same buff, but obviously that's only 4 times, so I could use that if no one's going to use it.
Yeah, I've already got one of those on, so it wouldn't do me any good. They don't stack.
In the case of Grand Destiny, it's just nice to have them when you don't have Grand Destiny up or you've been dispelled and whatnot.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Well, I suppose if you dispelled, it would. Oh no, it's still because you'd have to dispel the Ion Stone.
Yeah, I would dispel you, which would remove Grand Destiny, but you'd still keep the Prism Stone.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll take that then. If that's all the same general.
Go for it.
Does anyone want those rings, amulets, braces?
No.
No, not with what I currently have. Although, no, because I could just cast protection at the end of the day. Unless, like, yeah, I suppose if I get the ring, I can swap that for my ring of sustenance because I don't need it anymore, do I?
I mean, it means you'll have to sleep a little bit longer, but you still don't have to eat or anything like that.
Yeah, it's asleep really. That's the thing. In all honesty, Napaz, is that going to kick in much? We haven't slept at all this campaign.
That sounds
Yeah.
like metagaming.
Well, no, you don't have to.
It will come up, but not as much as it normally would.
I'll probably keep it then. Like, we'll sell the rings. I'll keep it because I can just cast higher protection magic anyway.
Yeah.
So does somebody a little bit faster than me want to add all those up and then divide them out but equally between us or something?
What if Jas doesn't want any of them? You can just sell those. Just here in time. Jester, before the group starts selling the items from the group loot, do you want any of those rings, amulets, or braces?
No. Happy for them to all be sold.
So if those are sold, everyone gets 81k each.
Nice.
That's a lot of money.
They're endgame items, so of course it's a lot of money.
I know, but I'm not used to it.
I mean, you're level 23, so your wealth at this point is normally like 800k. I can actually check, because I've made the thing. Wealth at this point is close to 2 million. Though wealth after 20 does get a bit fuzzy because it's multiplying rather than going up sequentially and whatnot.
Fair enough.
Jess, are you editing the group loot?
I can edit it.
That's just setting off the rings, amulets, and braces. I've not done anything for the iron stones yet. Because I'm pretty sure that Iskandar is taking the pale green. Yeah, you did. So the only thing that's left is the iron prism, which is a +1 to cast level. Would anyone
Did we
benefit from
ever?
it?
Did those two ever get sold? Because for some reason there are mounts and gears, and I don't know why they are. That was from the Sin fight.
Yeah, that's from the Sin fight. No,
that was from Wrath.
You might want to sell those then.
Yeah, can do.
You told me this discussion before that they were already sold.
No, I feel like I said the exact same thing, but Iskandar was saying that he would rather keep it in case Leo wanted to use it.
Yep,
and then I
did
always
say
said,
that.
or it's either Leo wanted to use it or my new character wanted to use it, and I said no for both.
We definitely haven't sold those yet. That's all I'd say. Like, we definitely haven't because I said that.
I shall get you the price for those. Alright, for those two, it'd be another 17k each. And since no one is speaking up for the orange prism, be another 3,000, well, almost 4,000. So Jester can delete all those wondrous items and the Wrath reward.
Technical question: can we buy the once per week chemicals with this, or is that not passed yet? Because we don't know about timescales.
When was the last time I gave you those?
It would have been the start of the campaign. We didn't get any then, but I'm just saying the last time I remember us taking them was when we bought some at the start of the campaign.
Was it like the Speed Plus or whatever?
Yeah, like the ones that are +1 inherents.
I think we only have gotten one of those, and the last time that we got them was before level 20. So
I bought one. I know that I bought one at the start of the campaign. I think Osa might have done the same, but I might be wrong.
I didn't.
Okay, I just checked my document. I haven't given out any pluses during the campaign, so if you did buy them before it started, yes, you can buy them from him. Though just note, you can only take one a week, so you can only have one body plus and no other plus. So if you do want to have a bigger boost, you'd have to buy the higher variants, which is just basically add the price again. So essentially, you can do one score. Just depending on how much you spend is how much you get as a bonus.
Yeah. All right.
Are those...
Does inherit bonus stack?
Those are alchemical, aren't they?
So there's the pricing. And inherent bonuses don't stack unless they say otherwise. The pluses stack with the pluses, and they also stack with your spec of divinity
Okay, that's what I was asking.
to
about.
a
That's good.
maximum of +5. So if you bought a body plus +3, that would be a +4 combining with your spec of divinity if you have another inherent in strength. The inherent bonus is also a permanent and instant thing, so it would allow you to get a feat, but no one's getting a feat right now. In the case of intelligence, you would just gain a lot more skill points as well as a knowledge, language.
Yeah, I'm not putting intelligence at the minute. I just wanted one for con because my health is very low.
Yeah, your health was low. All right, Iskandar.
It is low
Uh-huh.
compared to everyone else.
Hmm. Let me just let me get this corpse out of the gutter and let's have a look at it. Leo's just off somewhere, crying about his health.
Seriously, he is. So is Yuki from her last HP roll, but she's about to just increase that by buying a body +3.
Is that the +4 that's 110?
Yeah, +4 is 110k. It's basically just 27,500 times the bonus. What was your inherent score to con before, Jester?
It had a +1 in it, so it brings it up to +4.
Alright,
Because it stacks with the spec of divinity.
yes.
Where would I note that I've done that?
Just the inherent column. You could put it into the Byron info where your stat array is, that you just bought a body plus free.
Okay.
That'd be plus almost another 50 hit points.
Oh, look at that. So much healthier. I'm finally higher than the thief.
Oh, you're making my choices for me then, are you?
I was debating to whether to go con or strength, but I decided to go con. Even though Yuki still has never died.
I've decided I'm going for charisma.
I'd take you doing a +4 to your charisma then.
Yes, sir.
Alright. You didn't have a bonus before except from the spec, yeah?
Correct. So that's gonna increase my
I like how
saves.
when Jack B brought up the idea of the inherent items, that's just decided everyone's shopping list right then.
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about those.
It was just a question, like, you have to take it.
It's one of the better choices since the ability scores affect so much. And everyone here pretty much already has the big 6 in items.
Yeah, it's gonna increase my saves by a couple of points and my initiative by a couple of points. So that's always nice.
By the way, does our level 23, is that applying now or is that later on?
You're level 23 now.
Okay, then to apply that quickly.
That also affects my new class abilities, the charisma does. So that's nice. Charisma was also my lowest stat besides strength. And I'm still not using strength, so.
Did I roll my HP? I can't remember.
You did.
Yeah, I did. I rolled a 1. Fantastic. Ah, my saves don't change this level. That's just sad.
Does anybody know the price of Mega Phoenix or Mega Elixir or anything like that off the top of their head?
Mega Phoenix is 9500. Mega Elixir is 32000. So 32,000.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll get one more Mega Phoenix then.
Leaves me with 8,275, which I'll just keep as money.
I like how I did say you could increase bonuses, but for your Cybertech heart, that is your heart, so you're just going to take it out, yeah?
If he says he can instantly swap it, then
Hey, I mean, instantly is comparative to how long it would normally take, but yeah, sure.
I guess I'll go bloodless for a little bit. Like, just. for a
Everyone
few
just
minutes.
looks at Iskandar rip out his heart. This is totally
Here,
normal. I don't know
Take
what you mean.
this.
I have 3 mega. Oh, yeah, because you guys gave me some, didn't you? For use. That makes sense.
Yeah, we gave them to you because you're better at using them in combat.
True, they are fast. Yeah.
I will keep. Actually, no, I already have one on my person. I will give this one as well to Iskandar.
I'm gonna need to start getting a bandolier for this shit. In fact, would that work, having a bandolier to hold Mega Phoenixes?
Nah.
Fuck.
The only one I could find was a campaign setting thing or something for bullets, nothing for potions and whatnot.
Yeah.
That was not campaign setting stuff.
That's fine. That's worth asking.
Just stick them in your hat. They're feathers, right?
No. That would not work. Alright, well, I'll keep them on me then. Are you sure? Like, I've got 3. Like, that's enough to res the whole party. You may as well keep some on you.
I do have one on me still, so like I could res you if I get the chance to, if necessary.
It might be worth keeping a second one because knowing Napaz will find a way to
Do it twice.
Yeah, cause us to do 2 saves. So
All right, I'll keep the other one too.
I ain't saying I won't.
so it's definitely worth keeping. It's just when Yuki swaps her entire sword around because it doesn't work with a chosen weapon. Now, to be fair, your attack rolls are still like outstanding insane. But everyone's attack rolls are insane apart from me. That's not what I'm here for. Yeah, where's the box?
What?
Box, the finished box.
Well, nobody's leveling up, but I can make one. Sure.
I'm leveling up.
Ah, okay. Well, there's the box.
There we go.
What's Osa doing?
I was trying to decide between strength or constitution.
That was my theory. But I was like, no, I want more con.
I mean, as hard as it is to kill you, do you really need more hit points?
It's
I mean,
saved.
that's kind of where I'm at. Like, do I just want the hit points or do I just want the strength? I'm probably going with the strength.
More damage.
More damage. Don't
You could
take
upgrade
damage.
your wisdom so that your will saves are even better, so that Iskandar can never heal you.
Hey.
Just more
Love
damage.
that.
So damage
At least-
reduction basically is just non-existent for enemies.
I mean, wisdom is also not a bad call. I didn't need to give you more options.
What is your... are you still Berserker, or are you... something
Berserker,
else now?
Transit Warrior.
Do you have any magic item slots that aren't full right now?
Shield. And theoretically head. I have the Laurel of Command, but just have it because nobody else wanted it. Which we could also sell if we figure out something else.
That's head slot or headband slot?
Head slot. I do have a headband on.
Hmm. No, we've already gone through the head thing with you, to be fair. I think you're kind of just getting for what you want, really, aren't you?
Sorry, what was that?
We were saying about, like, you know, you could get the Mammoth Lord's helm, so you get a gore attack as well, but I think we decided against that at the end.
I remember us talking about it, but I don't remember if I...
Still can't afford that golden hairpin, but you know what? I probably won't ever really go for that.
Do you want to be able to get big more often?
Potentially.
Mask of Giants? Oh, never mind. That's got a spell that I don't think belongs in FFd20.
Problem with Mask of Giants is also it's what's it called?
Is it third party?
No, it functions off wild shape mostly, and wild shape's a druid thing.
Oh, does it? Oh, you're right. You're right. I did not see that. Helm of Teleportation.
The thing about magic items is I can only use them very rarely.
Yeah, anything that's activated.
Yes, I can't do that if I'm raging or frenzying.
This is true.
So it would have to be like a static effect, if anything. Or something I can do well before a fight or beginning of a fight. It's the main reason I rarely get big anyway, because, yeah. Just gonna go with this.
Sounds like a plan. That's a lot of strength.
That's the wisdom one.
Oh, is that the wisdom one? Still.
Yeah, I went with the wisdom one, because that actually fits a lot with what I'm trying to go for with Osa. Boost her mind a little bit, or willpower, rather.
Yeah.
Okay. You hand over, well, you speak the name of the items you wish to sell off, and the items you wish to trade in their place, as you find yourselves become lighter than heavier as they are swapped over. Iskandar takes out the jigsaw piece that is a part of his chest. As it disappears, reappears in his hand in a new fancy version, and he places it straight back inside just so he doesn't lose it. And as everyone is done with their preparations, Samala has some parting words for you. As you move through this gathering of snippets to deal with the taint that resides within them, know that there is a plan for your knowledge, and that, as I say, it can be a boon of all spoons. There is a particular recipe needed for mortals to ascend. Just like heroes of the light have several avenues to become such, there are several avenues to become a god. You may have heard whispers in your mind of items and reagents, but one such requirement you have almost met. At the end of the book that you need to read to become like us, you need to have stood within the presence of 5 others. And from what I have seen, I shall be your 4th. Be wary of the next sighting you have with one much stronger than you, as it may spell a change forever.
So our encounter with Hades was countered in this, I take it. It's even before our ascension to Heroes of Light.
Hades, Ifrit, Zamala, and Minerva for us.
Mhm.
Yuki's got Zamala, Ifrit, Minerva, and Bahamut. Oh boy.
Damn.
I like my odds.
Is anybody else terrified?
I want to be a god. I
I'm
want to go home and
terrified.
have a family. Alright.
What did you say, Iskandar?
I don't want to be a god. I want to go home and have a family and chill out.
Yeah,
Like,
you want to go home and be a family man.
I do. That's this whole
Yeah,
thing.
it's a shame. It's a shame you accepted the Hero of Light duty.
Didn't really have a choice, to be fair.
Sure you did.
Do you
Let
accept the portfolio
Let somebody else do it in your
family?
place.
I ain't built like that. Anyway.
You like the character that says never asked for this as he's hovering over the accept option.
It's that where you push it on someone else, and that's just not something Iskandar would do. But anyway.
Alright. Do you all walk through the portal, or float through the portal?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Joseph does so, but very dazedly.
Doesn't want to go.
No, it's not that he doesn't want to go. He doesn't really want to be a full-on deity. That's not
God,
was
what
not, was not in his plans.
Alright, so Joseph's definitely a deity of death, right? You have a lot of experience with it.
Maybe I'll take over the portfolio of rebirth. So many Mega Phoenixes, I just take over Phoenix's job.
Now you become one of their lackeys.
There you go, minor deity of rebirth under.
They'll just
Phoenix.
rename the item. They'll just be called Josephs and Mega Josephs.
Well, they're gonna be threads of his hair, his tears.
No, they're just,
Yeah.
they're like mythical parts of his cloak. Like Joseph's scrap, Joseph's like length. I don't know. Wait, that's wrong. Don't do that. Don't use
Joseph's length.
As in like a length of fabric, but that's
I don't think that's how people are gonna read that.
No, don't use that one.
I'm just constantly regrowing a patch of skin that is constantly being ripped off by somebody else. Just on my leg somewhere.
That would fit rebirth and regeneration. But anyway, sorry. Let's crack on.
Alright. As you all step through the portal, you feel the intensity of gravity beneath your feet as you're pulled straight to the floor. Unless Iskandar is still under the effects of flight. As your feet hit the ground, you can definitely sense that you are no longer within the sphere, and that the itching within your brain has returned, though you only just realized it stopped itching in the sphere. And I shall move you to the map. On both your east and western sides are large marble pillars, reaching high up to about 50 feet. On the sides of the furthest ones are lit torches, though their light doesn't really help as much as the sun is blazoned in the sky. As you look off into the distance towards the east, the west, and the south, you can see that you are atop a large mountain, though you're pretty sure you're not on Aeon Gaia. It's possible you're on a different planet completely, though thankfully your Specker divinity keeps you alive if the atmosphere here would have been different. Towards the east, you see a great chasm as a part of the floor that has been made for said building has fallen away, leading into a chasm that just rolls down and further down. You just make out the edge of what looks like a sort of balcony towards the east, though would require flying to get to. At the mention of flying and the thought of possibly going around, you feel a slight chill in the air, and while it does not give you any pain or discomfort, it is quite fierce, and the whistling seems to get louder towards the east, possibly making it a hard challenge to even fly around there. The building in front of you is made of a lovely brown brick. Some parts are painted, whereas others have been scrubbed clean of possible previous scribbling and graffiti. It is ornately designed, though you are a bit weirded that there are no mirrors or windows on this side. It goes to a steeped roof on the top with slate, and the building itself does not seem to be damaged, though it's possible it's seen several restoration efforts. Large, even larger doors can be seen leading into the interior, as you can make out some more light sources from torches. One of the doors squeaks a bit as the wind pushes it to and fro. And everyone needs to give me a will save, please.
Oh dear.
Not like this.
Oh dear. It's not a good start.
You got a hero point, right?
No, I don't have hero points.
Oh, for fuck's sake, you.
She wanted that extra feat.
I did.
Don't anymore, do you?
No. It's the first roll of the actual, like, official roll of the session, and that's how it does me.
All right, is Osa keeping hers?
Yep.
Okay. Iskandar and Joseph feel the itchiness within their brain start to go a bit wild as they feel as if it's trying to dig deeper and take over more of their matter. And I would ask for perceptions, but you're going to pass it. You can both see that Osa and Yuki look a bit sickened. As Yuki and Osa, you can taste something on your teeth. You're pretty sure you've not eaten anything any time recently, and your spec means you don't need to eat anyway. Though you taste a hint of blood and something stringy between your teeth or fangs, as you feel something burning into your stomach, and you feel like you've forgotten a meal you've had at some point, though it tastes rather disgusting, and you're pretty sure a bit cannibalistic.
Are you two alright? You look like you've. Well. Something's wrong with you.
Ugh, my stomach feels on fire.
Yeah, like I ate something awful.
Like what?
I don't know how to describe it. Just disgusting.
If you had any skills related to food, you could roll that. I'm pretty sure neither of you do.
Nope.
No. Unless survival counts.
Sure, I'll let you roll survival for it.
Well, I wasn't expecting to see that high of a roll. Jeez.
I have 2 skills.
I
It's
am
perception
good.
and survival.
Yeah.
It's the only things I'm good at.
I'm good at seeing and tracking. That's it.
Yes. That's it.
Alright, so in the case of Osa, you probably recognize this from your time exploring and having to make a meal out of anything on your mercenary trails. Whereas Yuki, you're probably a bit more wide with your palate when you've ordered stuff like liver at a restaurant. As both of you can kind of gauge that you've probably eaten brains.
Yeah.
Brain isn't actually that bad. Like, not human brain, just to clarify, but like.
Not raw.
Well, no, that never had it rule, but yeah, fair enough.
This feels like it went down raw.
Are you sort of saying that?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I? Could you open your mouth?
I want to go in there as well.
No. I want to cast True Seeing and see if, because I've got a theory, but I don't know if this is going to help it or not. But yeah, I'll cast True Seeing and have a look in the mouth. What I'm looking for is to see if I can see any signs of like, as if they've eaten a, almost like a version of themselves, as though like they've taken the brains out, like it's almost like it's been transported into them. The knowledge of almost like a different life or a different, you know, like those parallels that we just saw in Zamala's domain, as if they've just imbued the knowledge of those people without choice, almost.
Okay.
that.
Oh, come on.
Joseph, roll stealth.
Okay, as you look inside her mouth, I'm pretty sure true seeing sees through objects anyway, so you don't need to look into her mouth, you can just look through her face.
It's
Dramatic
weird.
flair.
You don't
Staring.
see, yeah, you don't see anything around her mouth currently. I mean, if she opens it up, you can probably see some stringy brain matter. You do see a similar color towards her stomach as that which you saw within people's brains before. Which point, Osa and Joseph, you can both roll intelligence.
No, no, they're remembering something.
Okay. Osa's just having a bad day to deal with brains today. However, Joseph does remember something through his memories.
Am I supposed to have received something?
Yeah, I'm about to PM
Okay.
you.
Give me some fucking knowledge.
Okay, there you go. That's what you remember.
Oh, that one.
What do you mean? That one?
So we've been remembering random bits of information. One of the things that I've remembered, other than apparently every fire spell ever, is Brain of Another.
Sorry, what?
No, now that you say that.
Of Another.
I'll say that in character. Like, sorry, what?
I don't know what it means, but based off of what Zamala was just telling us, it probably has some significance. Whatever book he was talking about.
And oh, so sorry, but what were you saying?
Yeah, now that Joseph mentioned it, I had that same thought, like, some time ago, like, in the Holy Plane, I think.
That's where I'm remembering it from as well.
Brain of Another.
And a little later after that, I kind of, things kept moving real fast, so I forgot to mention it, but I also, like, I thought about, like, Orphan Elemental, or something like that.
I am quote unquote trying to remember right now.
This path seems like it's almost laid out before us. I don't understand how you're being affected and then some of us aren't. Are you taking in knowledge of another person, or are you taking in a knowledge of another version of yourself? There's no way of knowing. Did you gain anything from this, or do you just have this foul taste in your mouth?
No, this thing is just the awful taste, really. Like, I forgot I ate something or something like that.
I can't see anything. I mean, I take it like the knowledge. Can we see the knowledge at this point with true seeing?
Yeah, you can see the knowledge. There's knowledge in both their stomachs, and everyone still has it in their brain.
Oh, but there's knowledge in their stomachs now.
Yeah.
Iskander will take a step back from Osa. It does look like you've eaten some knowledge. How? I couldn't tell you, but it's there. And I'll kind of point at Yuki and Osa's stomachs. And maybe something that comes to you in time rather than implanted, and he'll kind of tap the side of his head that isn't mechanical things we have at the moment. This is getting stranger and stranger.
You're telling me.
Sorry, I don't mean to waste our time. I just want to know. Let's move on. I'll cast my spells, I suppose. And he'll list out the buffs he's going to do for... I don't know if this is a dungeon. I'm just going to cast them anyway, but here we go.
And Osa will also activate her ring to give Joseph the shield another.
Heroic Invocation does the following. I'll put it in.
I was going to say, that's a new one.
It is.
Tongues! And to think I just learned all these languages.
It's effectively better heroism for everyone. And I can fix fatigued in a spell.
Gain 2d8 plus 4 temporary hit points. Do we roll that or do you?
That is up to GM discretion, because I don't know. I'll put the buffs list in for the duration when that's decided.
What's my roll, sorry?
Do you want me to roll the temporary hit points that they gain from Heroic Invocation, or do the character who's affected by do it? So we all do our own.
Do your own.
Alrighty. Answers that question.
We're updating the buffs list.
Yes, I'm just taking all appropriate MP out at the minute.
Alright.
There we go, and I'll put buffs list in now.
If either Joseph or Osa wish to try and remember anything else that they've remembered, you can do another intelligence.
I rolled one higher than the mage.
How dare you? I mean, you're probably better off with more temp hit points. You're probably going to get hit more.
Likely.
Okay. You don't remember anything else so far outside of what you as players would remember.
They've temporarily stopped my search through the chat logs.
Rescinded all.
Well, it doesn't want to let me put it all on one page, so it's being...
Don't do it on one page. They made it several pages for a reason.
Yeah.
I normally delete the chat log between whole adventure paths of campaigns or whatever, because they take forever to load and eventually they just break if they're on one page.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 177 pages. That's a whole lot of pages because those pages aren't just like a page of a book. They're like several. And with all the fancy pictures we have, that's very intensive.
Yeah.
I will let you know though, there are 3 things you know of so far.
any of us do that roll, or is it just...
No. The 3 things, surprisingly, or unsurprisingly, because they had the lowest will saves, are only known to Joseph and Osa.
Okay.
Yeah, my will saves have gotten a big boost recently, though, so that's probably not going to happen as much anymore. I think I'm 1 lower than Iskandar.
Maybe.
I think your base save is 27. I think mine is
It
26.
was Blood of a Fae.
Brain of another, blood of a fae, and then one other.
Core of an Elemental.
Core of an elemental.
Those are the 3 things that I have. I think it was only Joseph who got the Blood of a Fae.
Oh, I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah. That was the first one. Then both me and Joseph got the Brains of Another, and then at least Osa got Core of an Elemental. This is why we keep notes. Because I'm very bad.
And you could always just have it as a mystery and just like, oh, what was that thing? I don't know.
What? You give us hints that we don't write down? Is that legal?
I think I've got you at a stage now where I say something and you're like, does that mean something, or is it just descriptions?
It's kind of hard as well, because, like, I haven't been here for a lot of the other adventures, so I don't know about a lot of the other stuff.
Oops, I did not mean to do that.
I still think the best thing that that somebody picked up on was G remembering how many enemies are in a line, because that line was the code for a door. That was like the first thing she said.
God damn, fair enough.
What, that wasn't for this game, was it?
No, it's for Band of Arius.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was the Black Mage thing.
Yeah.
The Black Mage built in a line, yeah. I played so many puzzle games.
I mean, I was expecting it to be a few minutes or you didn't get it, so you just start running around. I was like, nope, that's the first thing you came to your mind. Okay.
I mean, it was the most obvious, like, number thing that was in the area, so go with that first.
Are we ready to go in?
I think Iskandar is sorting out buffs still. Also, if anyone didn't apply it, just remember you did get a full day's rest, so you do have your ability usages, materials, limit breaks. I think Iskandar already applied his MP.
Oh, hey, in my notes, core of an elemental, brain of another, fey blood. I should have just looked there.
You see? You keep notes. Exactly for this reason.
I feel great about myself right now.
You're being proactive, it's just you don't remember being proactive.
Exactly.
Is that just active?
Who knows? Who's to say?
Oh, I think I get more abyssal arts per day now. Since my charisma went up.
Wait, hold on. Did we just level up?
No, my charisma went up.
Oh, I was going to say. Sorry, I had to step away for 2 seconds there. I thought we'd missed something really important.
Yeah, Joseph killed Yuki and gained a level from it. He wanted that knowledge.
Ah! Joseph kill Yuki.
It's the most likely scenario.
I don't know, he took that. He got anatomical savant now, he's unstoppable.
Before you enter into this large building, we shall have our break here.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Catch you in 10.
Now I'll be right back.
All done.
Are you supposed to be under Leo still? What's going on with that?
Oh yeah. I don't know why. Probably just automatically set it to that. There you go.
Of course. I need to open up the buffs list because my game broke. Don't know why. The Bupsis hasn't been saved.
I'm just updating it now.
You had a whole break to do that. How dare you?
I was being entertained by funny police stories. I apologise.
Does the group wish to discuss things further, or are they going to move in?
I'm just gonna do what I said in the little blurb there. Just taking the fire materia out of my falcata and putting it into Ifrit's blade for now.
Alright.
Well, let's make heed.
As you walk into the entrance foyer of the building, your steps echo as the walls seem to be barren of any sort of decorations, where you would have recognized a hanging spot for a mirror or painting. Instead, you do see the bare stone beneath. You can also hear the faint hitting of rock against rock, almost as if the wind is pushing some rubble around. The whistling can still be heard loudly towards the south, though it can also be heard off towards the east, as if another window is open or possibly a gap in the walls. As well as the sounds of rubble being shifted, you all start to hear whispering in your ears and have a faint memory of this place. Yuki seems to remember the halls being a bit smaller during her time here, though she is sure she spent time here honing her swordsmanship. Joseph recognizes a piece of rubble on the floor that resembles a cracked piece of wall he had to climb through whilst working at the Reclaimers. Osa can smell the sweet scent of one of her allies in the iron pommel that was mostly kept to their room, and Iskandar can hear tiny explosions in the background as younglings test their magic.
Has anyone else found this place familiar?
Disturbingly so.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure this is where I practiced and trained. Weird to think that we'd be brought here, though.
What's that?
As you move further in, you can see the torches light up the foyer rather well, and towards the west is another window letting in the sunlight. As well as towards the west, you can see the hunched over bodies of similarly robed individuals, as you can hear the gnawing and crunching into meat as they are devouring something on the floor. Off towards the east, you instead see several piles of rubble with some gold coins laden across the floor, and a door that is seemingly kind of shaking in its hold.
What are those creatures off to the west?
You're asking the GM or your party?
Well, if I
Not
know
a troll
what
to
they
see if we know
are.
them.
Yeah, do we know what they are already, or can we make a check on them?
They are completely robed from head to toe and are tipped with a fancy hat. They remind you of the individuals you saw back in the Holy Plane.
No. Yuka just wants to put her hands up now and be like, "They're friends. They're friends. They're not out to kill you. I'm not going to kill them."
Are they all mirror imaged and also displaced at the same time?
Not currently, no. They seem to be enjoying a meal.
A meal of what?
They're currently hunched over on the floor eating something.
I
Yuki
can
will
only assume that
5 foot up and just say, "Hello there."
Your voice echoes down the hall as their bodies kind of jerk upwards, but they don't. Well, their shoulders hunch up, but they don't turn to you. They just keep eating.
We mean you no harm, and we don't seem to disturb you. Why are you in this place?
They don't seem to answer. They just continue eating.
I'll move closer. Just keeping a look around me and make sure I'm not stepping into any fancy anti-magic fields.
I would never do such a thing.
Nah, of course you wouldn't. At least you wouldn't make them so blatantly obvious like last time.
Nah, I know with you I need to hide them. If they're in plain sight, you're just going to activate them.
True.
As you step closer and your footsteps continue to echo, it seems as if the ravenous movements of the robed individuals comes to a halt. Their arms shift in front of their faces as if they're trying to wipe away something from their mouths. They stand up slowly as they turn towards you. The wrappings around their mouths have been pulled apart, as you can see that they have no lips, revealing jagged teeth, though you would probably call them fangs if you knew they weren't humanoids. Insatiable eyes glow between the wrappings, though it seems like they aren't going to attack you immediately. The closest one coughs as you see a sputtering of liquid come out, though they wipe their mouth again.
Why are you here? We thought we were the only ones to come here. As directed by the voices and the itching. Itching!
He then scratches ravenously at the back of his head, as you can hear the cutting of flesh, as you're pretty sure he's digging into his head.
Yuki will sort of hold out her hand and be like, please, we also similarly have this itching at the back of our head, as well as the whispers. But be careful, because you're cutting into your own flesh. You're causing yourself harm.
The man brings back his hands. As you can see, his nails are covered in blood, as well as skin and flakes of hair.
It's always there, digging and giving more. But the more it gives, the more it takes. If you are like us, where are your wrappings? Does your flesh not fall off the bone? Does the insides not heat up? Have you not dined on the flesh?
We don't seem to have as severe circumstances yet, but speaking from my own experiences, I do have a burning within my stomach. Almost as though I have a brain tasting in my mouth.
You have dined, but you have not consumed fully. It must be digesting within you, or you need another bite.
The man leans down to the floor, picks up a mound of flesh in his hand and throws it towards your feet.
Dine, sister. Dine and you shall know more.
At which point, Yuki, I need you to give me a will save, please.
At least it's not a 1.
Yuki, as the wet sound of the brain matter hits the floor, a waft of the meat hits your nose. You twitch a bit, and even though you're disgusted, you try to avert your eyes. However, you start to succumb, and bending down to one knee, you start to pick at the meat. Does Joseph intervene?
Absolutely. I will not let them pick at the meat.
Does this not intrigue you, Joseph?
No.
Remember, you have Grand Destiny for saves.
I rolled a 15. I'm not going to roll much higher than that.
No, I mean, it's just a +4.
I'll stick with what I got.
robed individual that was on the other side walks around as they start to shuffle around in their satchel.
If you're not of the brain persuasion, still waiting for the knowledge to seep within you, I have something else. We have killed many of their kind, and devoured so many of these, we lack the space in our stomach to hold them.
They bring out their hands, as you can see 3 glowing orbs in them. 2 of them are red, 2 of them are red, and 1 is a yellowish color. They start to walk towards you. Do you do anything to stop them walking, or you're just gonna let them come up to you?
I mean, they don't have any weapons in their hands, so I'm just gonna let them walk up to me unless they have weapons out. And they don't appear to be casters, right?
Yeah, remember from last time they are. But Yuki as being the one that's spoken to them so far, would feel that they have no hostile intent. So we'll allow this.
That's what I'll do.
Iskandar's just going to tell them to get away from these creatures because, I mean, they're dealing on brains, right? And they've just pulled out what we can only assume to be cores of elementals. So we don't want this, ideally.
Exactly. We don't want this. We don't want to become what they are. In a way, it'd be good to study or try and help them to revert them back to what we are now.
Is that in character or is that like...
That's in character.
The robed man holds out their hands as the spheres glow in your eyes, as Joseph and Yuki need to give me a will save each.
What does Grand Destiny do again? Is it just a +4?
You have to save before the roll and it's a +4, yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, it wouldn't have helped anyway, so... Interesting.
As the robed individual holds out the orbs, Yuki, already being taken away from the meat pile, instantly takes one of the orbs and plops it into her mouth.
Oh no, I didn't have time to like knock it out of their hands or nothing.
No. You were also looking at them and trying to resist, so you're preoccupied.
Damn it, Yuki, no.
Bad Yuki.
But it looks good.
Pull Yuki, like yank Yuki back and punch her in the stomach to force her to throw up.
Yeah, you could. Yuki's not gonna want that to happen, so...
Probably not. I don't imagine she would.
It's better than forcing
It's just like first instinct. Just no, get it out of your fucking mouth.
I was gonna say, what sort of resisting should I be doing to this? How should I... It's like you say,
Use
I
your
don't
full
really
AC.
want...
I would say it's an attack roll for Mosa going against your AC.
Okay.
Attack roll. She considered flank because I know I'm not raging, never mind.
36. You'll probably beat it, but yeah.
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 As long as I don't like roll a 2. Not 2. As long as I don't fumble, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Does Yuki have DR or no?
5 against evil.
So 5 overcome by evil.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So you need to roll your unarmed damage to see if you can get for the DR. She may do, because I think you have an
I mean, I did say I'm
you have a lot of
punching, so
strength. Yeah.
I do.
Punching would be D2, I think, plus your strength.
D3 for medium, I think. Might be wrong on that one.
Just like I'm not allowed to use my claws for this. So I'm very specific trying to punch her.
I would say just be an unarmed strike, so no claw.
Is it
I think
1d3
your
then?
strength. It might be D3.
It's 1d3. I've got the thing.
Alright, yeah, 1d3 plus your strength. I think your strength overcomes it anyway.
I rolled a 1, so plus 8.
Alright, so
When it comes to DR.
Yuki, you'll take 4 damage as the attack is just enough to make her choke up and drop the orb onto the floor.
What was that for?
I'm gonna scoop up the cores and put them into my my portable hole real fast.
So we can eat them later. I see how it is.
No, so that Yuki isn't tempted by them.
Well, there's 2 more on the creature's hands. They were
Yeah,
holding up
that's
3, right?
Get away from those
As
damn
the
things.
as the robed man watches the alteration, his head will crank to the sides, though you're pretty sure you can hear his bones snapping as he does so.
You want to eat your friend? It is not uncommon amongst us. They do seem fresh.
Nobody here wants to eat anything.
Yuki will sort of dart her head back towards his thing. I mean, she is right. You did just force that down my throat.
I gave you the option. You took it. Blinding speed. You must be hungry.
Why don't you back away?
I agree with Joseph here. I feel like you've gotten a bit too close. Step back.
I will make that an intimidate check if I can find it.
They take a few steps back. They put their hands up, as you can see a bit more through their robed hands, as there's just decaying flesh, and you can also see a bit of their bones in their hand.
No need to get riled up. We already offered you food. We won't have anything for you if you eat us. One of you already eaten flesh anyway. We won't provide anything. There's more brain to go around if you wish to eat some.
Yuki will sort of dart her head towards Iskandar. Well, what's our option? They don't seem to be hostile.
I don't care if they're not hostile. They're fucking ghouls. Look at them.
In such a rude way to talk to us. We are brothers and sisters. We share knowledge.
They're
We must
insane.
communicate with them knowledge, and we should know all about the universes.
No. These things don't deserve life. I say we end them. They're too far gone anyway.
You can
You've
see
already proved-
Yuki has like a bit of regret in her face as she puts her hand on the shaft of her weapon.
I don't like it any more
Sister.
than you.
Sister, we only offered help. Don't take the old man's words.
5-foot
He
step
shall
making attack.
fade.
You're going to attack, are you?
Yeah, I said 5-foot step, make an attack.
Alright, we're going to go into surprise round then.
Did Joseph do initiative twice?
No, did I accidentally hit it twice? I don't know why it would have done that.
There's intimidate and then initiative, they're not the same.
Oh, I can't read, apparently. Ignore that.
Alright,
Oh, did I not get to make my 5-foot step?
I just moved you back in case you weren't going to be at the top of the turn order.
Oh, okay.
Alright, Joseph moves up and slashes at the robed individual.
Is this the surprise round? Or
Yes.
okay. Do I have a swift action to make right now then?
Yeah,
Because I do have swift actions in surprise rounds. I will
everybody does.
I will activate dark side as well. But only after the fact.
All right. You slash at the words individual, as you can see their eyes widen in surprise.
Kin! The knowledge has driven you mad!
Goes to Iskandar. You have a single action unless you have anything that changes surprise rounds.
No, I've got the same thing that Osa does, so it's just a case of you get to act, that's all. So, I will cast Feeble Mind Mass on both of them, and increase the DC, and use my Surge to make them roll twice. They can cast spells, right? Like, not to be an arse, but it specifically states they take a -4 on the throw. Like the saving throw, they can cast spells, so just for their own save.
I mean, if you let me know, I'll affect it on their side.
Alright.
Also, I should have gotten mark damage on that guy. I'm sorry, I forgot.
So be DC 32.
You don't deteriorate their mind any further.
And they take 2 saves for it.
Yes.
Damn, alright. That didn't work.
They're mindless creatures, maybe.
I don't think that they can be mindless if they're communicating.
Yeah. I must have just not passed the save. I mean, damn, they must have done alright then. Oh well.
What is the saving throw? I don't even see it.
It would be DC 32, and they need to roll twice, and it takes a -4. So effectively, it's DC 36.
Mm-hmm. Is that it?
That is all I can do for now. I'm fatigued.
Oh, sir.
Move around to get over here. And seeing that just did I have to hit, but it's still not down, I'm gonna rage. And take a whack.
You second the right one, yeah?
The one I'm flanking with Joseph with.
Okay. You slash into their back as they cry out in pain.
You got your attack and damage on there, haven't you, from Heroic?
It should have it on.
No, I'm just asking, that's all.
Yuki, surprise round.
Yuki will just move round to here.
Alrighty. Joseph.
Oh boy. That has mark in it, but it does not have flanking. I didn't realize Osa was flanking.
It's a lot of precision, regardless.
Oh yeah, of course. And then obviously all of my iteratives are lower AC for them against me.
The first 2 hits and the second kills as the roadman holds on to your blade and your arm as they look at you with begging eyes and they die.
I will take a 5-foot step up to right behind Yuki. And I will take my -2. I forgot it's -2 for dark side now.
Iskandar.
He will move to here. Will that still give cover from here, or will I still have clean line of sight?
On who?
The last person alive.
There's nothing blocking you, so you're fine.
In that case, I will cast Shadowfire Ray. I have no idea what plane we're on, so I don't know if this is going to work or not. Then you roll the attack. That's just for star and whatnot. Star rolls, always good. Attack rolls, always terrible. Yeah. I mean, the one's definitely not going to hit.
First and second do indeed hit. The first and third, sorry.
Alright, that's it for me. Does it look like it hurt them?
It definitely looked like it hurts him as he cries out in pain.
Alright.
Elsa?
Try to finish him off.
That bite is a 19. Though
It is, yeah, I did my bonus wrong, apparently. Might have messed up the macro on that.
That was a lot to to attack. Jesus.
You lay into the final guy, and on your 4th attack, he will fall to the floor.
Now, he had pulled stuff out of pouches and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely searching these bodies.
Just be careful. Yuki's already proven that we can't trust whatever comes out of those pouches.
Looking on the ground at what they were eating, what can I see? Is it just a pile of brains, or what does it look like?
It looks like a pile of brains.
Yeah, I was afraid of
Looks
that.
rough tasty.
So I just kind of turn around and force herself to throw up. Try to get rid of the brain that she ate earlier, apparently.
Alright. You make yourself throw open the corner. Not much brain comes out. It's possible you've digested too much.
If I look at Osa and Yuki, can I see the knowledge of traveling through their system?
I mean, it's a faint. It's like it's dispersing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna essentially just blow apart the brains of these 2 mages with the staff.
All right. You blow apart their heads as blood, muscle, and bone go everywhere, as well as brain. But there's certainly less head than there would normally be.
You could as well just look at Iskandar and be like, Now, was that really necessary?
Look, we don't know if they're actually dead, for one. And the second thing is, quite frankly, I don't want a reminder of what we could be if this path that's on us is failing.
Well, that's the point. It's what we could be. That's why we need to really be looking into this a bit more.
Looking into this? We tried that with these things before. Do you not remember? They look at them and he'll sort of like pull a load of their rags off.
It's left of the body after you just blew it up.
That's just the head.
He's missing his fucking head! Look at him! As you pull apart the ropes, you will see that a lot of their skin has almost kind of teeth marks across them, as well as very deep pock marks, as if they were affected by a very dangerous disease. But they do look very ghoulish. They're still warm, though.
Oh, I hope so. I don't think you understand, Yuki. This is what we could be. I don't think these are heroes of light, so that may have saved us, but this is what we could become if we keep indulging ourselves and trying to help these things. Is this what you want to be?
No, not in the slightest. It's more as I want to prevent becoming that. Like you say, being heroes of light might be slowing down the process. But if we could help cure, then is there a way that we could potentially cure ourselves?
Cure them?
Oh. We don't know if it's actually slowing down the process. We don't know how long these things have been like this.
Exactly. This, from what Samantha said, this is... Sorry, go on.
Not just we don't know how long this thing has been going on. We know it's at least ever since the Altwise situation.
But
Maybe
it's
even
also,
before that.
like you say, but these things aren't hostile. They didn't come to attack us. We were the first to attack. We could have just turned around and walked away.
They didn't attack you? Do you not remember eating that thing? Would you not see that as an attack? On your sanity at the very least?
They just very much just put it in front of us, and when whatever's infecting us is taking control. We just need to avoid them. No?
Avoid them? You walked over and said hello. Iskandar looked very, like, frustrated. Like, this, out of character, this is not, like, it's not a stab at anyone, it's just very frustrated with the situation.
Yeah, I know.
This is beyond us in ways I can't even fathom. And you're walking over to people and asking them how they are and eating things out of their bags?
Yuki sort of just looks back down at the body and is like, maybe you're right.
Yuki, I don't mean to demean you or anything like that, but if you are going to have trouble keeping control of yourself, maybe you should not be up front right away.
So she needs to. Joseph, you can't coddle her. At the end of the day, she's a fully capable warrior. We've seen that in action, but... I mean, come on.
Okay. I'm sorry. You are right. It's just, I guess the whole situation is just scary. We don't know where or how we become these things or when it could happen. I'm just looking for ways to not become like this. But I guess the sooner we complete our mission, the quicker we can avoid it.
Believe me, I'm terrified right now. I was terrified before I was told, hey, you might become a deity. Now I'm just absolutely not okay right now.
You're not alone being afraid, Yuki. Pretty sure we were all terrified about what's going on. We have absolutely no idea what's going on.
Absolutely.
But I do get what you're getting at. They weren't hostile, they were afflicted with the same thing we're afflicted with. And it isn't necessarily their fault any more than it's our fault of what's happening to us.
And who's to say being Warriors of Light or Heroes of Light is protecting us. Maybe it's a step in the direction that these things are trying to make us go. It's not protecting us. It's the next step, so we don't become something like this. Will be something worse.
You're right.
Maybe
And
it's
I guess
worth it
in
for
a
Heroes of
way,
Light.
slaying these creatures is actually a way of freeing them.
They're not going to get better. It's going to look like full on dejected.
Yuki just has like a sort of like a personality change in her face as she sort of just stabs her sword into the ground. Well, if what we need to do is slay them to free them of this curse, this parasite, then that's what we must do. Let's move.
Oh, we already did that to the guy before, didn't we? We couldn't help them any more than we could help these two.
Don't get me wrong, we can talk to them to see if we can figure out something new each time we encounter them. But in the end, just realize we're probably going to have to slay them.
Oh, of course. If that's what it does to help them. It's better than, I guess, trying to cure them if you say there's no way of curing them. So, slaying them's the only other option.
I don't have an answer for you. I wish I did, but all of my studies, all of my magical ability, all of your worldly experience between the three of you, and we have no idea what we're walking into. But as you say, let's move. The longer we're here, wherever this place is, the faster we can be affected by this.
During this entire conversation, I've been looting through their pockets to see if there's anything useful.
Yeah, this is really terrible. Joseph's like rifling through their pockets, like pulling out everything they own.
As you look over the satchel, you will find a few interesting pieces. One is a scrawled up note which has bloodstains and finger marks all over it. Another is a locket, and there is a numerous amount of brain matter and flesh, along with 2 coloured orbs. The folded piece of paper reads, "To become better, you must become worse," and the locket has a picture of a family inside it.
I will set up the rest of the brain matter and the orbs in a corner, and then I'll look at Eskandor and I'll be like, take care of it, please.
Yeah, I'll just blast it.
So you started blasting, and they painted this place even dirtier.
Yuki will sort of just use her shield as kind of like a shield. Sword as like a shield from all the blood that's probably spluttering everywhere.
I mean, I could hit with earth. I suppose that would... no, I'll just crush it. I'll just hit with fire.
Fill the room with the scent of cooking brain.
Yeah, I was just about to try using stamina pool to see if I could cast any of those fire spells. I don't think it'll work, but
You use your stamina to rub 2 sticks together and you make a campfire.
yeah.
I'm not going to try and aim it at anyone, so you might get some splatter pattern from this, but apart from that...
Yuki will try and open the door. I'm assuming this is the door.
I'll take the locket, just to, try and find the family at some point. It was on me, like I said, we should kill them.
As you pull on the handle of that door, you will see that it is locked.
Yuki just taps Joseph on the shoulder.
Yeah, I'll switch my gloves out real quick. Even though I don't think I'm going to need all the extra bonuses, but, whatever.
The door is unlocked. Like, you just put your lockpick in there and it just suddenly unlocks, like you don't think you needed all of that.
I mean, it's a 57.
It was like maybe like jammed a little bit and you didn't pull it properly.
There was just some
It's open
chewing
this whole
gum stuck
time.
in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just push out the remains of the last key. You're like, oh, okay.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Switch my gloves back, and then, yeah.
open the door. With a push or pull action, whichever works.
It's a push.
Is it
Push.
worth a checking right at all?
There's some money over there, but you guys don't care about money.
Not really. I feel like it's a trap as well, so.
Yeah, we gotta go back that way.
We'll get back around to it at some point.
Alrighty.
Love to hug the left wall.
Left wall it is.
Pushing open the door leads into a almost Tetris-designed hallway. As you can see, some rubble blocking some part of the western wall. Another door leads off to the east, lit up by a flaming sconce. And as you enter into here, your footsteps enter into the echo of countless other footsteps, of both heavy feet and light feet, heels and flat foot. Almost as if this corridor is being rushed through by several other people. The shifting of paper and parchment fill the room with the sounds of an office, or possibly something that had to do with information. But you don't see anything that is making the noise.
I'm not the only one hearing lots of footsteps, am I?
No. I
Yeah,
think
people
it's,
Shuffling paperwork. Very distracting.
I guess we check
Okay.
door to door.
I can tell you what that is, but yes. Let's have a look.
Try
Does
to
this
open the
door
door.
appear to be locked?
As you place your hands onto the handle of that door, your hand burns. As you recoil away, you can see the handle glowing golden. Words etch themselves into the wood in front of you in common, in a very demanding phrase. As it says, "Those who are holy may enter."
Those who are holy? Does it mean... Wait, so who's the person... Was it me or Joseph that touched the handle?
Joseph asked, so it'd be Joseph.
I wonder if it's alignment based.
You try.
Yuki reaches for the handle.
Just give me a second. I broke Roll20 by pressing a button. There we go.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. It's the button that opens this Candor sheet.
Yeah, no, I'm never opening that again. Unless I need to fuck around with his background some more. But I've made my notes, so it's fine. Yuki, as you place your hand onto the handle, it doesn't burn as much as it did for Joseph, though you do feel a compelling feeling that you're not doing something correct.
Okay, have I tried turning the handle?
Well, that would have been the first thing you thought of, Suggest. But I know how your character is. They do like to push on a pool door and whatnot.
Doesn't appear to be working. It doesn't burn like it did you, Joseph, but doesn't seem to open either.
Is it something to do with speaking the name of your deity? Potentially? Those that are holy may enter?
I speak the name of Bahamut.
Alright, you say your deity's name, nothing happens.
That didn't seem to work.
Well, I'm certainly no holy man. I don't know how this affects the two of you. So we
Maybe
all
there's
just
more.
try the door.
It's either that or maybe there's more clues in this place. Maybe we try a different door for now.
I suppose.
You could also try to break down the door.
Something tells me that ain't gonna happen, Chief, but we can try.
It's always worth a try.
Okay. Yuki lifts up her foot and tries to break down the door. Do you need a roll?
You're using an unarmed strike, and I pull out my adamantine falcata.
Well, it's only because you're the man
As-
that got burned by the door.
As Yuki kicks the door, it buckles and shakes as Yuki becomes deafened by a large dinging noise in her ears.
You can just see Yuki's visibly like opening her mouth, trying to get her ears to pop.
Nope, Buckeye goes right back in its sheath.
Ah, my ears. Ah. Whose idea was that?
You just kicked the door.
Joseph told me to.
I was suggesting that it was an action that we could take or try to take, and then I was about to use my weapon on it. I didn't tell you to kick it.
Yuki sort of just double taps the door with her hand and be like, I'll be back for this one. Let's try a different door.
Well, didn't it buckle under your kick?
Yeah, like it was shaking around and moving
Oh,
around
it
with
didn't,
its
like-
lock. It didn't open up, no.
No. Well, I suppose so. I guess I'll try the door on the way past. I suppose I can as well. See if anything happens.
You say Iskandor is trying the door.
Yeah, may as well.
The handle is hot to the touch. It's painful, but not to the severity that Joseph had.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I don't really know. There's no knowledge as to why this wouldn't be working, is it?
That's not particularly, no.
In that case,
The only knowledge would be to override the puzzle.
Yeah, I could try to disable the door itself.
Nah, puzzles are more fun.
Yeah.
We'll move on.
Just out of curiosity, I would like to see if Osa would like to try it once.
I mean, I don't see what that's gonna do. I'm not any more holy than any of you guys. But sure.
I feel like you're the best of us, and it reacted worse to me.
Well, if anything, Yuki's way more holy than I am, but sure. And she'll try to handle, I guess.
The handle is warm to the touch, but it doesn't move. Feels like you're not doing something properly.
Just put your hand on the door and push.
I'd rather not risk that.
Well, I'm not saying like attack, just like a swinging door. Just push on the door like it swings.
Yuki, as you get to that portion of the hallway, you can hear the loud scribbling of quill on parchment and a very low-pitched cough as if someone is not too well.
Yuki sort of just, as like a soldier would do, just put her hand up in a fist to like tell the party to halt. And just sort of whispers back to the party and be like, I think there's somebody ahead.
So if it's something we don't have to fight.
Would I be able to decipher where the noise was coming from? Like, for example, is it on this door on my left? Yeah, didn't think so.
Yes.
Yuki sort of like waves Joseph over. You're quite sneaky. Why don't you try opening the door?
Okay.
I
He
mean, you can't
says as
fumble
he
scale
kicks
checks.
rocks, but the rocks are silent.
Yuki was
Well,
sort
I'm
of just...
also like an inch off the ground because we've got fly going
Yeah.
on.
Yuki will float over towards
You
Joseph.
still kick a rock and it makes no noise.
Weird.
You're
Just
the
a backdraft.
thief. Why would I know?
What?
You're the thief. Clearly, you have some really good rock kicking skills. Just glides along the floor.
Okay.
As you get to the door, the scribbling becomes more pronounced and the coughing continues. They seem kind of deathly.
Is there a keyhole to try to peer through?
Yes.
I will do that.
You peer through the keyhole as you look into a small office. there is a desk in the northwestern corner, though you cannot see who is sat atop it. On the southern edge of the desk is a chair facing towards it, almost as if this would be used for meetings.
Trying the handle very, very quietly. Is it locked?
It is not locked. Though you do hear on the inside a elderly voice call out to you. Margaret, is that you? Have you brought the tea?
What did he say the name was?
Margaret?
Margaret.
Guess, do we just talk our way out of this? Just knock on the door and make yourself known?
We can try. Does anybody have any tea?
No? If he tells me where to get some, I'm sure I can get him some. Well, open the door. I'll say hello. Hopefully it's not a ghoul this time.
Opening up the door, it leads into said office, as you can spot a very aged eagle whose feathers have almost completely molted from his wingspan, and the ones that are still there are completely white. His eyes, almost glassed over, show his poor eyesight, even more so with his scribblings across the parchment are almost indecipherable. Several orbs are laden across his desk of varying hues of red, from completely white to very blood red. He looks over in your direction. Margaret, the tea, quickly, please.
I recognize this guy, don't I?
You may have had dealings with him. You may have also killed him.
Would Yuki recognize
Maybe.
him? I'm assuming so from the snippets, but does she actually know of the deeds he's done?
You would you would recognize him from the snippets as Dr. Rickabold advised, yes, though he's a lot older.
Yuki would take one foot into the room and be like, hello there. I'm really sorry. I'm not Margaret. My name is Yuki.
Are you a new assistant of Margaret? I think she said she was looking at a new job. I can't fund her here anymore.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure who this Margaret is that you speak of. But you don't sound very well. Is there anything I can do to help you?
Tea would be nice. Honey, as well, helps with the cough.
Would you be able to locate me, probably to the nearest place to maybe make you some tea?
He lifts up a hand, as you can see his bones almost sticking through his skin as he points in the opposite direction down the hall.
You can go to the staff room. I go myself, but it's too far a walk.
Okay, I'm sure I can get you something. But before I leave, I'll just mention that I'm here with a group, as I'll wave the 3 party members behind me in. This is
Are they applicants? Are they here for the tests?
Tests? What tests?
The doctor shuffles around some papers, bring them to his face, almost as if he can hardly read them, and he puts down a few contracts towards the edge of the desk.
These, Margaret should have informed you if you're the new assistant. There's, tests that people can run, clinical trials.
Can I pick up one of these contracts and just read it?
Yes, you can.
Then I'll do so.
reading over the contract, it is a clinical trial to undergo some testing for new forms of materia. The materia will be infused within your body, and you will be paid an upfront sum, and then the other half at the end of the experiment. You are offered 150 gil to start and 150 on completion. It's said that it may take up to a week for the clinical trial to be completed, and at which point you will be staying within the Nefel laboratories. Though the date on the contracts is a bit past what you can see the nearby calendar stating.
I'll get back to you on this. I'll go and see if I can fetch you some tea. But like I said, this is the group I was with. This is Joseph and Osa. And there was one more other, but he doesn't seem to be here at the time.
As he mentions our names, I'm trying to discern if he has any recognition of us whatsoever.
He doesn't seem to recognize you. It really seems he's having a hard time keeping his head up as it kind of dips down.
Yeah, it seems like it. His mind is deteriorating. So, Dr. Altweist, you're not still trying to extend your life, are you?
Yes. But it's proving to be a long.
His head then dips and he just falls asleep.
Well, guess I'll go fetch his tea.
I don't think I have heal, so I don't know if I can tell if he's alive or not.
A few seconds pass and his upper body kind of slumps onto the desk.
How
Yeah, I
many
have
orbs did you
no
say was on the
range.
table?
There's like 8 or 9.
I'm gonna put my fingers up near where his nose and mouth are to see if I can feel any breath coming out.
Very faint, and there's a lot of gaps between them.
Does it seem to be slowing down as well?
Yeah.
He's not long for this world.
Do you think this is what would have happened if we hadn't stopped him?
It might be what would have happened if he never met. What was her name again?
Bethwine Carver.
Yeah, from Carver.
Yeah, the Carver girl.
Well, Carver would have been the first victim.
Victim of
From what I
what?
remember, it was of the orb thing.
Oh no, she wasn't the first. You saw the recordings of his previous experiments on the
True.
other people.
One of the first, potentially.
Yuki
Yeah.
knocks on the door and tries and opens it.
Opens up into a similar office with a more nicely designed desk, though it looks like some of it has been cleared away. And as you look around the walls, replacing the calendar is a large awards kind of diploma that has been put in a frame, and it says congratulations to Dr. Rigobard Altfeist for creating a material of extending lifespans.
Now this is strange. I'm sure Joseph Anosa just said if he's completed it. He said that he was still trying, but this says that he's already done it.
This is a different version. These footsteps and these shufflings of paper, they're all Dr. Rickabod. Different versions of him, different places, times, plane.
As Iskandar and Yuki speak within the other sides of the door frame, another Ricobod will appear next to Yuki as if he had walked through it. Ah, are you one of my new lab assistants? I've been getting quite a few applicants recently.
Oh, I'm sorry, you startled me. No, I'm not here for any of the clinical trials or anything.
Oh, no, the clinical trials have ended quite some time ago. Did you not see the news? It's been a success. Many eagles have been coming to the laboratories. I'm currently being set up in one of the more larger facilities.
So, you did it? You found a way to extend your life?
He moves over and takes the award diploma off of his wall as he kind of breathes on it and rubs it with his sleeve. Ah, yes, that was some time ago. And just in the nick of time, too. As you can see, I'm as lively as a teen of my race. Though, probably barely a fifth of your lifespan.
Wow, well that's some great feat. Congratulations, Doctor.
Thank you. Though I've had too many ceremonies putting me on the pedestal. So, what is your expertise? You're a bit bulkier than the other applicants I've seen.
Oh, well yes, I'm a I'm a warrior, adventurer, if you must.
Ah, you must be here about the guardsman position. Yes, we do need to go hunting for some monsters. Their components are definitely one of the major contributions to the Crimson Materials. Are you here for the 10-year plan to extend your own life?
No, I wasn't, but that'd be interesting. Maybe I'll take a pamphlet or something and I'll have a look at it later on when I leave.
I think I had some around here. They didn't have them in the Yes, here we go. He pulls out some pieces of paper underneath the stack of them. This office should be cleaned out rather soon. I'm just come here to pick up this thing. Old sentimental fool, but of course I'll be getting that in my 40s. Here's the contracts for you.
Yuki takes them. Well, thank you, Doctor. I'll make my leave and won't disturb you any longer. Congratulations again.
Thank you, and I hope to see you in the guardsman.
And
He
Yuki
walks
leaves.
towards the doorway and his body kind of phases out.
What is this place, Iskandar? Do I still have the paper in my hand?
Yep.
Can I read the date on it?
The date is about 12 years from now.
I can only assume this is a construction of every version of Dr. Sorry, what's his full name?
Dr. Ricobod Altfeist.
Dr. Ricobod Altweist's life. Every single one of these rooms, we can only see two, and there's one that's been destroyed further down. If you were to go back in there at a different time, you might see a different doctor, or a dead one, or one of a different race, time, ability. From what Osa and Joseph have seen and what you've seen, and I may be wrong here, but it seems like this could be any possibility he ever had.
So, the next question, I guess, is that door to the right, down south.
Did Yuki read the contract she picked up?
Not yet, but she will read it.
Now or later?
Well, she'll read it now.
Okay. Just so you say you'll read it, I don't know if that means now or later.
No.
As you read over the document, it lists a few guardsman positions and 10 years. One of the contracts is for 10 years, and combined with your normal paycheck, at the end of the 10 years, you will be able to spend a amount of money and get a discount to buy a Crimson Materia. It lists a few variants, though the Behemoth variant is the topmost one, and it says it'll extend your life by 47 years. As far as you can tell, there's no humanoids on the list. They're all monsters being transformed into crimson materials.
Wow.
Is the one in this office dead yet?
Yeah, he's dead. He's not
Okay.
breathing.
I will gently lay him down on the ground, and then I will search his office for anything that might be useful or informative. And I'll take all the materia that are here as well.
As you look around the office for anything of worth, you do find several different pieces of materia, as well as a lot of notes towards his research, though a lot of them are all failed ones, and they get to become very indescribable messes that you're pretty sure only he could have read at that point.
Sick. Someone's showing us this, or this corridor wouldn't exist in the first place. Why Dr. Rickard? Out of all the people in all the worlds and all the planes, why him? Something's doing this.
Because he was the first we dealt with when this all started, maybe.
Maybe. It still doesn't explain the door.
I had a thought a little bit ago. I'm going to try something, although I don't know if it'll work for me.
What are you thinking?
Look through the keyhole. Maybe that would work.
As you make your way down the hallway, if you have them in places you would recognize, the effects you took from those rooms turn into dust and fade away.
I take it this rubble is like impassable.
It's impassable rubble, yes.
Ready?
When I get down here, I will try to peer through the door, the keyhole, and see if it does anything.
As you peer through the keyhole, a searing light blinds your eye.
Ow!
Is it
It's
worth me casting a holy
Everything
spell?
okay?
I don't think so. I don't think that was it. At least not for me.
Yuki leans forward and tries to look through the keyhole.
You see a big splodge of yellow.
Oh, this probably ain't gonna work, but it's only NTMP, so why not? I would cast Consecrate on the ground and see if that works.
The ground is consecrated, and Joseph may feel out of ends, but nothing happens.
Well, there's still the other side of the building to check out first. We can still come back to this.
Indeed.
I will take out my ring of holy that I had before, and I'll try to press it against the door.
It makes a thud, a very tiny thud. But nothing happens.
Hold it up to the keyhole.
It kind of just, it's there. It doesn't do anything.
Okay.
You know the orbs we collected from those guys in the robes? Are they elemental orbs? For example, is there an elemental holy one?
I mean, they did have a yellow one.
That's a good question. You'd have to roll Knowledge Arcana. Actually, no, it'd be knowledge planes because it'd be outsiders. I don't know why I said. I guess they are kind of because they're magical, but either way, yes, you know, those are elemental cores.
What if you held up the elemental core of Holy to the door?
I will try to do that since I'm the one that has it.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happened.
I mean, it makes a bit of a clinking noise as you touch the keyhole, but nothing else
that was
happens.
Joseph telling everybody else.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Let's check the other side then first.
Indeed.
As you move over to the eastern end, you can see more piles of rubble, both in the form of rock and what seems to be wood and leather. Towards the south, what could have been the seating area partially is destroyed, and the door towards the east continues to shake and make a creaking noise of the wood.
Is anybody else's map going really slow?
No.
It's a big map.
I'm alright at the minute.
Yuki investigates the door.
The door is shaking, and from what you can hear on the other side, you're pretty sure there's just some severe winds.
Is there a keyhole?
No, just a handle.
Do I sense any
Yuki.
traps nearby?
You do not sense any traps nearby, no.
Yuki will try to like open the door, but sort of hold it firmly, so if it is like really gusting on the other side, it's not just going to blow her back.
I'll start picking up coins.
Alright. Yuki pulls open the bristly door as Joseph picks up coins. Though, as Joseph picks up the coins, he can feel them shaking in his palm as miniature mouths form with jagged golden teeth as they come to life.
Too greedy. Oh, that's a big room.
It's an exterior, but
That's-
I can explain that when you get out there.
Okay. It's going to be like swarms, which you can't hit them with melee attacks. They've got to be like area of effect attacks.
Oh, I hope you can dodge ultimas.
I can, now that you ask.
Coming to life, the one that Joseph was picking actually comes to life. And seeing these creatures, you can roll a knowledge. I need to open up my knowledge list. This is knowledge dungeoneering.
I have that one.
46 it is.
Okay, give me a moment.
Just realised I'm also in charge of the monster companion.
Joseph has one less dungeoneering than Iskandar.
You're doing good on the engineering. To be fair, it's not a skill I've invested too much in.
These are Mimic Devour Swarms. Mimics that take on the shape of coveted coins of the world, animating when they are near or come into contact with other creatures. This swarm often takes on the guise of 10,000 coins in a pile, and are sometimes traded after death to merchants with no repercussions. You can learn 6 traits. Give me a moment as I get those for you.
So I'm assuming they have swarm traits.
That's a good assumption to make. But yes, they are indeed a swarm. Alrighty. They will be saved as Fortitude. They have no weakness. They are immune to Earth, as well as having Swarm traits. They have Essence Drink. Whenever they damage a target, they deal 1d6 Wisdom damage. And if you have 0 Wisdom, they instead deal 2d4 Constitution damage. They have Essence Heal, where they heal the amount of damage that they heal for half the damage that they deal. And they have Mimic Stick, where when they damage a target, they also cling to the target and move with them. The target is treated as if they were 5 pounds heavier, and whenever the target would make a reflex save, basically the mimics do the same. So if they stick to a rogue and has evasion, they would have evasion if the rogue dodges. This fella is going to move on to Joseph. Since some of their friends are already in your hand.
Oh, they don't have to hit me and do damage?
Swarms don't do attack rolls, they just automatically hit.
Rude.
Okay, do you have any DR?
I don't believe so.
Okay. You'll take 17 damage, 4 wisdom damage, and you need to make 2 fortitude saves.
Jesus.
As for swarm traits, I have a list up with me.
These take half the damage, right?
Yeah, she activated her thing. It doesn't affect ability damage. I don't think it's just hit points.
No, it's hit point damage specifically.
Yeah.
Right, I wasn't gonna try to take that off.
All right, so probably just for Yuki, because I don't know if Jaster's had many swarms.
I don't think I've ever had a swarm,
that's-
so this is interesting.
The way that swarms work is that they are a mass of creatures that are either tiny, diminutive, or fine. I guess you would know that these are made up of fine creatures, so there are 10,000 coins, which is why the description says there's 10,000 of them. They act as a single entity, and they have several immunities. Since these are fine, they are immune to weapon damage, which means the dice of your weapon, the strength you would inflict, as well as anything that just affects weapon damage. The only thing that would work from a weapon is if you had the enhancement bonus, so the +5, and if you had something like flaming on them. So basically, magical parts of the weapon deal damage, but your strength and whatnot would not.
So if, for example, I changed my weapon attack to an elemental attack, would that work?
Yes, because that's energy damage, not weapon damage.
Good.
They are immune to crit precision and flanking, because you'll be flanking like 1 of 10,000. and they are also immune to targeted spells. So if you had like death as a single target, or what's another one? Chain lightning, where you have to select up to 5 targets, they would be immune to those. Though they do take half extra damage from AoEs. So essentially vulnerable
Okay.
to AoEs. Alright, using 2 Grand Destinies, alright.
Yep, and I clicked the button, but it might have died.
I shall click my button. It may have died. There was an infinite loop. How dare you have infinite loops? Huh. Whenever I reset the API, it just brings up that power card of the pull the lever macro. Alright, you should be able to use it again.
There we go. Oh my god.
Oh dear.
Keeping that fumble?
No, I'm gonna re-roll it. Do I still get the bonus on it? On the re-roll?
No, because it's a new dice.
Okay.
You
I'm gonna
could
have to-
activate Grand Destiny a third time.
That's
Can you use it
true.
more than once a round? Is it a certain amount of times per round or action use,
Let
Jackby?
me check the spell for you.
If not, then I wouldn't have been able to use the second one
I
anyways.
do believe you can still use it multiple times around, but it's just a set amount of uses. Apply before attack roll. It doesn't only affect of 1 Grand Destiny spell at a time. It doesn't say anything about a
Yeah, so yeah, you could use a third one.
yeah.
Alright,
you can use
I
4
will-
around.
I will do so, and I will use my hero point to re-roll.
Okay.
Just realised you got a 20 to 1. That's like literally the opposite ends of the spectrum for you.
Yes, it is. All bonuses should be in both of those.
Alrighty. You save against some additional effects that you don't know.
Okay. Can they attach onto me even though I have freedom of movement?
They're not stopping your movement, so yes, they can.
Is it kind of it's a stick? Okay, so it's not like
They're not grappling you.
yeah, grapple. That's what I was
I mean, they are grappling you, but they're not grappling you in game terms. They're essentially biting onto you and keeping hold, but it's not stopping you.
Yeah.
Alrighty, that is them done. Yuki. As you just, like, stare at the open air. Wow, that's a big room!
It's a bit windy.
You hear a lot of like coins clinking behind you.
Yeah, so I'll sort of turn around and be like, what did you do?
Joseph's just covered head to toe in coins that are biting him.
As she will fuse her weapon as a swift action with fire. Five foot up and attack this thing. Is it worth just doing a full attack anyway? Because the enhancement can do damage or no?
Can't hurt.
Yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Jesus.
To be fair, at least the elemental damage is on the next first successful attack,
Which happens to be a crit.
which happens to be a crit. So, it works out nicely.
If that
So-
even hits.
Elemental attack. Is that for all of the damage or what?
It's
Is
just
that a
on the
soldier?
next successful attack. Yeah. So it's only on one attack.
So it's like O spell, but for soldiers.
80 damage of his next attack into your chosen element. Alright. So obviously the fumble will miss, the crit will hit and translate into fire damage. The second will hit. Your enhancement is 5, so nothing else, just 5 damage.
Yeah.
And the fourth will hit. Alrighty. And of course you recognize you're already doing, I'd say 5 damage because you know swarm traits.
Yeah. Got it. Be me, damn.
Joseph.
Can I take my turn to try to get these things off of me?
No. It's pretty much the same as the adhesive and mimics. If they attack you, you can't get rid of them unless you have something specific.
Okay. Well then, I will take a move action to pull something out of my bag, and then I will take a standard action to cast spell from a scroll, and I'm going to ruin get these motherfuckers, and intentionally fail to save.
That will be hurting Osa because it's an AoE. Well, it has an AoE for
I
half
mean,
damage.
I
I'm
would
only
be
thinking
aiming
half
at the
his
one
damage.
next to Yuki, actually, so, because
Oh, you're attacking the ones on you because you were asking about that. Okay, if you're attacking that one.
yeah,
Ruin is... Actually, no. That wouldn't work because Ruin's a single target.
okay.
Yeah, you hit and then it explodes.
Yeah,
Oh.
Ruin is up to 5 targets. Fuck creatures.
Could
Even though Ruin
he-
has a explosion, you still have to hit an initial target.
Could he hit
Uh,
himself or Yuki?
I could do that.
He
or
could
just-
hit Yuki, in which point they would be hit with the AoE blast.
Could you?
The AoE blast is half the damage of what Ruin Gun does.
Can I hit the rocks to my north?
Creature. You have to hit a creature.
Have to hit a creature. Okay.
So it's either you hit yourself or you hit Yuki.
Yeah, that's not as good as of an idea as I thought it was going to be.
Ruin Gun is also painful.
Eh.
I mean, I was blasting you with it in the Holy Plane. It did a lot.
Yeah. I have no idea what to do. I'm just gonna look over at Iskandar and like open up my arms like hit me.
I'm not gonna hit you, I'm gonna hit everyone else.
And then tell everybody else to get out of the way.
It's fine, I have a plan.
So Joe's just lit himself wide open.
Why are we drawing on the map?
I just see a green
I don't know.
line.
Jagby is discovering his artistic side.
But that was me, I didn't even realise that was me. Right, never mind.
Well, it was green, so
Yeah, I don't know why that happened.
you may have pressed the hotkey. Alright, so Joe's just passing.
Yep.
Alrighty. The swarm up top is going to move on to Yuki.
How dare.
Did you give yourself the damage from the last attack, Joseph? The wisdom damage?
Yeah, it ate through almost all of my. Oh yeah, the wisdom
Inherit-
damage is gone, and it ate through almost all of my
Tempo.
what do you, temporary health. That's correct.
What are you saying, that the wisdom damage is gone?
No, I used the wisdom damage. Actually, oh no, it's not a bleed effect. Never mind. Wait, is it a bleed effect?
No.
Okay.
Alright, Yuki, you'll take 11 damage, 1 wisdom, and 2 forward saves. So you're part fighter. Do you...
Yeah, so physical
lower the wisdom
resilience
damage?
would just lower the wisdom damage to nothing.
Is that a certain amount of times or forever?
From what I'm reading, it's forever.
I'm pretty sure it's just always.
It's just reduced. So I have a minus.
Yeah.
I can reduce it by 3 currently at my level.
All right. So you don't take any wisdom damage.
You need 2
Still need
fort
fort
saves.
saves.
I'm going to use 2 Grand Destinies for this.
I was about to say, watch me another crit and a fail.
I wish.
I mean, it kind of was. It's like a 19 and a 3. Almost opposite sides of the spectrum. Oh no, I'm back to my normal health.
Alrighty, you save against the additional effects. However, these are now stuck to you.
So, is there any way to shake him off? Like
No,
acrobatics
not that
or
you know
something?
of.
Okay. So wherever I move, they just come with me.
Yep.
Fair enough.
You're basically covered in ants, but the ants are extra sticky. They've embedded themselves in your skin.
So can I still attack them, or can I attack the ones on Joseph?
You can attack them, yes.
Okay.
You're just going to be smashing the blade into yourself, really. Iskandar.
Would storm bolts work here? Because you can pick creatures, and any other creature is affected by lightning damage, so that would affect potentially all of them, but that's kind of up to your discretion.
Bolts do not harm natural vegetation or creatures in the area you wish to exclude from damage. No, because they'll count as the same creature, so if you don't attack them, you don't attack the swarm.
But it's any other creature, so surely I could exclude Joseph and
You
Yuki.
can exclude them, but you'd be also excluding the swarms.
Right, okay. And I don't have any cool wind spells, otherwise that would be fantastic, because they're tiny.
Is it still, just out of curiosity, now that I've opened this door, is it extremely windy out there? So for example, if I stood out there, would they just come off me?
No.
Damn it.
They're still sticky.
I can't target individual ones.
They are flex tape.
Oh, well, this sucks. I should have picked up some wind spells. I don't really want to throw, like, a big boy explosion on everyone. And you say that because they're attached to both of them, they would gain, like, their evasion, effectively.
Yes.
Okay. Ice Prism would work, because that is a targeted effect. Alright, I apologise in advance for this. So... Yep, 30-foot spread. Where is the 30-foot? Where is the 30-foot these days? Is it in... Cones, lines, radius? Radius. Oh god, that's huge. I can't move it.
Probably because it's reaching outside the walls.
Shit. Yeah, it's gonna get Osha as well. I don't really want to do that. I'm gonna hold my turn till after Osha.
Alright. Elsa?
Suppressing the merciful from the body wraps is a standard action, yeah?
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's fine if I'm gonna move away anyway, that's fine, I suppose. Before that, just gonna make sure this is not a fumble. son of humble, that's good. I mean, I assume Iskender said something like, "Also, get the fuck out of there."
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so can't really do much about these worms. Just gonna back up and take a standard action to suppress the merciful of her body wraps.
I mean, you can still attack them. You got an enchanted sword with the axe.
I mean, the body wraps are bigger and enchantment bonus, enhancement bonus. And they also deal less damage if something bad happens and I hit one of my friends instead.
Alright.
So, you know, that's her thought process.
Yes, Condor.
Okay, so just to clarify, do they have the evasion of their target, or do they get evasion on their own, like, reflexes?
They count the saves as who they're attached to as their own. So if Joseph evades with his reflex and has evasion, and he takes no damage, they take no damage. But if he just accepts it and stands there, they also are accepting it and standing there because they're not going to move off of him.
How much health has he got? Ah, he's fine. I can fix you after this. Alright.
So it's for Joseph not dying.
Half my damage is going to Osa anyways.
Yeah.
It's kind of
That is true.
He's going to say, look, I'm really sorry about this. And he will cast a maximized ultima just on top.
Whoa! Hold on now.
They're still Yuki.
On top of basically Yuki and Joseph. Like, I'm going to have to aim it out the door, but thankfully I can see that far.
You can do it there.
That is not a 60-foot radius.
Oh, is it 60? Oh, let me set the dimensions to double. Yeah, you can throw it to there.
Yeah, that's the move.
You're gonna fuck up this building.
Look, they're showing us weird images. I'm fine with that.
Is Yuki fine with this?
I mean, does Yuki actually know Iskandor's doing this in the middle of battle while she's got a swarm on her?
Yeah, what's your spellcraft?
I also have no spellcraft, so...
He looks like he's charging a spell, but you don't know what it is, so...
Yeah.
Unless he tells you, you're just going to be surprised.
I just
Exactly.
said I'm sorry.
Sorry? Sorry for what?
Just-
Can I get some help over here?
I'll fix you afterwards, and then I'll just fire it off.
Is Yuki just going to be accepting it then?
I mean, I'm not going to just accept it, but I guess I have to. Gotta kill this swarm
Do you have
somehow.
evasion?
I have evasion, but there's no way I'm going to reflex because these things get my reflex.
Yeah.
Yes, flat 240.
Oh boy.
240 non-elemental, yeah?
Correct.
240 or 214?
240.
That's what it would be if Osa didn't take that. So that's 120 after that.
And yes, I can fix you. Don't worry.
There we go.
Yuki just sort of looks at Iskandor and is just like, ow!
Oh, what the fuck, old man?
If this was Leo, he'd be like, right, you did it to Osa, now you're doing it to me.
Look, I'm trying to get the set, alright?
So, Iskandor shoots out a very mighty ultima into the outside as it blows off in the wind and flies away. Breaks apart a lot of the flooring and the walls as the whole building shakes, and the mimics let out thousands of cries of pain as you start to hear the dinking noise of coin to the floor as they fall off. As they all just let off wispy smoke trails.
This is non-elemental damage, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So, cannot be reduced.
No, I wasn't trying to reduce it anyways. I was just like, it doesn't burn. It doesn't tingle like electricity. It's not cold.
Kind of.
I don't. Like force damage from 3.5.
It's essentially force damage, yeah.
Yeah.
So
You kind of
I'm
just see
beat.
Yuki visibly annoyed as she kind of just storms towards Iskandar. Right. Do you want to explain?
It was the only way to get them off you and kill them. I'm sorry. As he's kind of explaining this, he's kind of waving his hands around and puts a full cure on her. Like, look, you know when like people try and explain a problem and they use their hands. Like,
The question now is, does she
I'm really
accept the
sorry.
full cure?
Yeah, you can see him like whispering out this kind of like white mage spell. Do you accept? I
Yeah.
have a trade offer for you. You take one maximized ultimate, you get one full cure.
Yuki sort of just kind of like grabs his jacket and be like, "You're a married man, aren't you?"
Yes.
I'll have to meet your wife one day and have a bit of a word. As she just walks away.
No, please don't do that. Wait, come back, and he'll kind of like tap the back of you to give you the full cure, and he'll work his way around the rest of everyone else.
Oh. Thank you. Just be careful where you put your hands.
You hear several parts of the walls and the ceiling and the floor crumple away from the Ultima.
Look, that wasn't even that strong.
What
really.
did you do to this building? As she
What
sort
else
of
does more damage than that in like a round? Leave me alone.
climbs over the rubble.
Everyone else is fixed, by the way. I've taken the mana out. He's kind of like just apologizing to literally everyone. Like, sorry.
Yuki sort of just shouts back at the party. Hey guys, come look at this.
Oh god, please don't tell me I've blown up something else.
Just so you know, Iskandar, the only reason that it hit me was because I let it.
In all fairness, I wasn't trying to cause as much harm as I could.
So Osa walks out next to Yuki. She kind of just puts her hand on her shoulder for a moment and just, welcome to the club. What's up
First
here?
time.
To be fair, she got hit by a much harder one than you did.
And I failed to save that time, so I took full damage.
As you move outside to the newly destroyed balcony, you can see that the ceiling is no longer there as it leads out to the wide open air. Towards the south is the chasm that you saw from earlier, with some lovely railings that would have been lovely, I should say, as they have been completely destroyed by the Ultima, leaving only pieces of metal across the floor. Towards the north, you can see a window peering into the building, as well as a set of doors. And even further towards the north is a large wall that connects up with a secondary piece of roof to the main part of the building, in front of which is a very large red statue.
What is that statue?
Yuki just sort of gives a look at Iskandar and walks towards the statue. Yeah, I guess we better go and check it.
Oh, well, this is going to be a fun road to deityhood, I suppose. Is that it? Is this like, if we become deities, me and Yuki become like rivals because that one time I accidentally blew her up?
Just starts the next deity
Accidentally
great
on
war.
purpose.
Well, I say accidentally. I definitely meant to do it, but to stop you from being killed by medics.
Hold on, I'm gonna go back and collect some coins.
Did you not just see where... And he's gone. Oh, he's gone.
Come back to life!
Do you not just... That's the whole reason he just got attacked by those things.
Sorry, can I just address the fact that like 240 damage is nothing compared to what all of you do in like single full attacks?
As Yuki sort of just talks to Iskandar and turns around, she's like, "Ah! What?
As
Hi?
you're making your way across the balcony, a visage appears in front of you as it forms out of mist. A large troll looks down towards Yuki as her sword is bigger than you and bigger than your sword.
You must be the new meat. Here to join the tribe, I assume.
Hey, well, this has to be one of the very few times I see someone who's got a bigger sword than I. I commend you.
This. I use it to keep all the troops in line. Now, speaking of troops, that army you wear, you aren't any remnants of the humanoids, are you?
Eh, I am a humanoid, but probably not from whatever you're talking about.
Or you'd be
Hello,
the worst
Zara.
spy of all if you were belonging to them. So, what's your specialty? What kind of corps you wanted to go into?
Well, as you can see from the size of my blade, I'm a pretty good warrior.
We'll find spaces for you in the ranks. You good with the cold? Our trias towards the north will be going off soon. Plenty of relics to be had, and more deity blood to drink upon.
Well, what about the rest of my crew? As she sort of points back to the rest of the party.
Hello, Zara.
Are the Conqueror? You must be.
Yuki sort of just puts her
Two
hands
of
on her
them
head.
don't
No,
The
go on.
two of them don't exactly look to be the martial kind, though I like the one with the axe.
Yuki sort of just puts her hands on her head and looks to you, Golden Bee. Why do you know everyone? Am I missing something here?
It's not surprising tales have gone far and wide, though I'm surprised so many humanoids have come to join up with the tribes.
This is Zara the Troll Queen.
Well,
That was
yes.
my old moniker. Do you not know the new one?
What have you become now, Zara?
I have ascended past queenhood. I am now Zara the Demi-Fiend. Some have called me a quasi-deity, but I don't like that name. Demi-Fiend suits me better.
I take it you never met anyone who talked you down in your timeline. You simply conquered Nefel and Gargan, and Yuan and Dre, and anyone else that stood before you.
Timeline? You speak like my shamans. I'll have you set up in their core if you wish. They have some diviners with them.
It's just gonna look at everyone else like, well, I hope you're ready for this. I'm not gonna hit you with another Ultima again, I promise.
Yuki sort of just looks confused and be like, ready for what? Are we really getting into another fight?
Unless you can talk her down. And he'll kind of step back. That is not my forte.
Do you recognize us, Zara? Me and the axe-wielder?
No. I recognize the axe wielder's strength. And you slinking around. Don't tell me you're some of the families we've taken care of.
No, but I did at one point have a bone to pick with you, Zara. I feel like it's time for a little bit of catharsis.
Also,
Aosa?
looks very pointedly towards Joseph and just slowly, shakes her head.
Yuki does also react and say,
So-
is this really the time for this, Joseph?
Why not? It's not going to affect anything real.
But it is just going to slow down what we're doing now. Zara,
Zara
you well.
kind of slides her leg to the side and just lets you see a portion of her armor where there's a chink.
Go ahead, take your frustrations out, you'll see what happens.
Yuki sort of just slaps her forehead. Ah, really?
You are unable to mark her.
Oh, wow, okay. That's not That's not good.
Yuki's sort of just says out loud, like, "Are we really doing this, guys? Is this what we're doing right now?"
Was going
I
to
don't.
be.
Well, Zara, this is a lovely conversation and all, but we do need to keep moving forward. If you don't mind allowing us passage.
Allowing you passage? You're in my camp. Where would you want to go? We're not going towards the north for a few days now, unless you're wanting to be teleported there straight away. You think you can deal with the ice giants?
I'm sure there'll be no issue. There's no need for you to teleport us, though. We can make our own way.
Whatever you wish, smaller one. Meet me in my tent when you're ready.
Shall do. As Yuki walks
Zara
off.
picks up her sword, cuts into the air, and makes her own portal as she walks through it.
As Yuki walks off, she's like, "Not," and continues walking. So what was his bone you had to pick with about her, Joseph?
Well, at one point in time, when Bose and I were much younger, about what, 2 years ago now?
It was like a year or 2 years ago. Maybe only a year ago.
Much
Coffee.
less wise. I accidentally offended Zara in some sort of trial by combat that Osa was partaking in by putting my hand on my weapon and being nervous. And when Zara came out of her little tent from watching Osa's match, she, without warning, sucker punched me right in the gut.
Yuki tries very hard not to laugh out loud. Oh, well, that does sound unfortunate.
Really wanted to hit her.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't.
Oh.
Let's check out this statue.
Yeah, there was something off about her. My abilities did not work the way that they should.
If she were a quasi-deity, then it's entirely possible she was effectively a hero of light or full of darkness, or something very similar. Your mark might not work in her because her levels are simply... When I say levels, sorry, I mean experience is simply too high for us to quantify.
In terms of quasi-deity, it means she's already progressing into deity levels. She isn't a hero of light, she's stronger.
Alright, well, that's what I'll say then.
Very glad you didn't punch her. Come on then, old man. Tell us what this statue's about.
What? You fucking look at it now. I'll find out.
No, you're not exactly on the young side, are you?
No.
What are you talking about? He's immortal.
Sure.
These whippersnappers.
Them wrinkles tell it.
I mean, he had age resistance cast on him, so he probably doesn't even look like he's old.
Nah, to be fair, the only times you've ever seen him old... In fact, you've never seen him old. The only times I've been old is in anti-magic circles.
Dispelled, yeah. Dispelled nice magic.
And that was before being a hero of light. But yeah, I can have a look at it.
As you approach the large statue, you can see that it is made of a reddish bronze, and from its horned, helmeted head, you can see its eyes are currently crying blood, droplets hitting onto the floor below. An inscription reads on its base, "You'll find out next week."
Ah, funny.
Damn.
That's a shame.
Oh, boy.
That was set up so perfectly as well.
We'll indeed end the session here. Joseph, you said you picked